All right, well, right now I'm going to put in the, connect these heater boxes using these things. So I have the short one, which goes on the left side of the bus, 3-4 side, and the slightly longer one here goes on the 1-2 side. So let me get to work and connect. All right, well, gonna try this and see, hopefully that's visible. Just fake this camera location. So basically I have this guy here. So I've done this in the past like this, and then I tighten this down first all the way in. Let's see if I can get that in there. Seems about right. I'll just loosen this a little bit so that I can slide it in there. And then let's see what task I've got ahead of me here. If you look here, so you can see that you have this tube here, and it has to connect to the heater box there, and it's going to be, let's see, it's going to be this piece here. I think it goes this way. So you have to get it past on this side, get it on there here, and then you can stretch it once you clamp it down. Amazing, this one actually seems further away than the old one, so let's see if I can stretch that into place. All right, so I've got the this connected up here, so you can see there. Got it connected on the heater tube. I've got it connected on this heat exchanger thingy, and I just have to, this is still a little loose right here, so I just have to do this, and hopefully this bolt on the back doesn't slip. Let's see how tight. Let's just see, it doesn't wobble at all. So this one is in there just great here. Let's look at it. So bolts there, a bunch of oil lines going around it to the external oil cooler. Now this is the right side, so you can see where that's going to connect to the tube that goes to the front of the bus. And then back here, all the way over there is the heater tube. And you can see under here I have my starter motor. So this is the last chance to really be able to check the wiring, because the heater tube covers it up. So this is the wiring of the starter motor, and then it comes, and here's the wiring of my solenoid, which is the shut off. And then you can look down there, you can probably see there's a, hard to see, but there's the fuel pump is down there. All the wiring for this looks good. So let's put on the this tube here. Let's see, so the first thing that I was doing, putting on the silver tube. With the clamp. So this tube is going to go back onto the heater box there, and then squinch it down, and that makes room for the sort of the air heat exchanger. And let's see, easiest way to get at this bolt is to put it on the outside part. So put that in there. Now what I do is tighten down the look here. The way this looks is I want to tighten down the silver tube here on the heater box first, and then I'll pull this flex tube until it's over this thing, and I can pull this out a little to do that, and then I'll tighten that down so then the flex tube is totally taut, and then I'll pull this heater tube in and bolt it down. Okay, and that's it. Now on this right-hand heater box, so I've got this thing here is tightened down, and then I've got both of the clamps on the flex tube tied down. So, you know, the next step is to figure out how to connect the this here, which is the cables. So unfortunately right now my cable is a little bit asymmetrical in that this one reaches and the other one doesn't. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to make the other cable reach. All right, so I need to take this cable off because I have to sort of slightly change the lengths. The right-hand side of the bus needs to get slightly less length, and the left-hand side of the bus needs slightly more. So the only way to do that is to take this out and take a look at this cable. I had set up this cable a ways back, and it's a messy job because of the grease. It should pull out. So I just want to pay attention to which one comes out of which hole here, because let's see, there's a right hole and a left hole. So this is the one on the right side, and I had cut it, so I have a long and a short connector. So this is the short connector, which means this one goes to the passenger side, and then here's the other connector. See how that one's long? That's because I had chopped that before to fit my old heater boxes. This is some nasty stuff here, so I'm gonna have to slightly alter the lengths here. And the way I'm planning to try to do that here, if I look at this piece. Now this thing comes in here, and there's a little rod there, and that allows me to do a bend at the point where I want this to be. So I need to just change this by about 3/4 of an inch, and then squish this down so that it bends properly over the pin, so that when you turn it, it can pull it properly. That seems pretty good. Okay, so the end result there, I fed it through a little bit so that it just altered it a little bit, and then I have to remember which one goes on which side. The small one goes on the passenger side. There's still a bunch of grease on here, so I'm just gonna feed it in the way it is. It's got a little junk on it, but I'm just gonna there's a lot of junk on them. So I'll feed it through, and I'll kind of wipe it a little bit. So we have the far side is the small one. Make sure that goes into the right hole here. the near side, the longer one. So let's fit in properly. Let's see if I can get this all the way through. What I think I should do is get rid of this red thing, honestly, because it might fit in there okay, but it might also impede the thing. So let me just get a... All right, took that thing off, and now I'll feed this thing the rest of the way through, and let's hope that this fits properly. Okay, I don't have to tighten that down yet, but let's go and take a look. Come out of here, and I've got to pull this. Let's see, I'll set up the camera like this if I can actually. Right. And I got to try to pull this out. It doesn't really seem like it has much extra. And this is where this is. So, you know, I have a throttle cable extender that I might actually use for this. Let's look on the other side. Other side actually looks good. So I'm gonna screw it in the front and see if I can connect it up. Okay, this is a totally imperfect solution, but I'll show you what I've got here. Basically, stretched out the other cable fits perfectly, and this cable, when you look at it, it's about an inch, well, maybe even slightly more than an inch short. So what I did is, rather than buying a whole nother cable setup, I have this thing which I had actually bought for the throttle. It's a throttle cable extension. It looks like this. And that would get me perfectly into the barrel nut, but the thing is then it's like a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch too long. So what I'm gonna do is, and I don't know if this is recommended, I'm just gonna cut off about a 1/2 inch of this thing. So what I did is I got my handy Dremel cutter. So I'm gonna set this up. Maybe the camera can see it, maybe not, we'll see. And then I'm gonna take this Dremel, have my safety reading glasses on, and I'm going to cut this thing right here. And it's cut. Okay, then I'll take my handy dandy extender. See if it's visible here on the camera. Take my handy extender. Some light on this subject here. And I'm going to put my extender in like that. And tighten that down. This is an ugly solution, but my alternative was to buy another heater cable thing and feed that through, and to be honest, it's also possible that would have been too short on one side or something. So I'm gonna hold this sucker down, try to tighten this so it doesn't slip off. I guess that's about as good as I can get. Now we'll take the barrel nut, if I can find it. Here it is. There. Barrel nut goes in like this. Okay, that is an ugly solution. Let's look very closely at this ugly ass solution. But you know what? Nobody is ever gonna see this. So I have my barrel nut, and I have the heater cable goes into the extender, which then goes to that, and that avoids me having to go and get another cable. Okay, so I can test and see if the heat works. All right, I had to adjust it, and let's just see here. So, like this, there's a little bit of airflow there. And if I open it, and that's full heat. You can see this. It blows it up. So now if I close it, I can close it all the way, and when I feel this, there's still a little bit, like it's not letting the things close all the way. So I might have to do a little loosening of that, but overall this is good.